Hey guys, it's your boy Proxy back with some more gaming news. This is gonna be a little podcast we got going on today. I got my boy Frank here. We're gonna talk about Stalker 2. Me personally, I don't have that much gameplay with the first two, but he does. So I thought I would bring him on board. What's up, Frankie? Let them know who you are, man.
Yo, what's good, guys? Name's Frank. Just chilling with my boy T here. Just want to talk about some Stalker.
All right, so there's a lot of things going on with Stalker 2 right now, and a lot of things that's making people upset. One of the things I want to talk about right now is the system requirements. I think the system requirements are not that bad. I mean, a lot of people are really upset because they're saying that they have to use DLSSR more or upscaling to try and get that extra bump in their frame rates. And the Stalker 2 devs put in the system requirements that they feel that you should use that. It's recommended that you use the upscaler. How do you feel about that coming from like being a longtime Stalker fan? How do you feel about that kind of upscaling that you have to use that for a video game?
I mean, I wouldn't say they ever said you have to use it. It's more, it'll help you improve your frames and whatnot.
Okay.
Not everybody has an Nvidia card, so it's not like it's gonna help for everybody's card. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like they don't have the FSR, whatever the hell it's called. So, I mean, it'd be any different than when was it Dragon's Dogma 2 when they came out, they only had FSR. They didn't have DLSS, so
Yeah, that's
I
that's kind of
it
like how
still
I
sounds
feel about
normal.
it. That's kind of how like I feel about the situation. I feel like
Modern gaming at this point.
yeah, every game that we play right now, they want us to use the upscaling. They're kind of like forcing it on us. Is it a bad thing? No, I think most people think it's a bad thing cuz you're getting like fake frames, but I don't see it as a bad thing. I think the way we are right now, if we want our games to look more modern and more better, it's just something that we're gonna have to get used to. I mean, when the 50 cards come out, like the 5080 or the 5090, whatever they're gonna call them, I feel like you're gonna have to they're gonna have that in their games too. Like you're gonna have to use the upscaling for those as well. It just happens. So it's just something that's just gonna keep happening in the game. Where I have a 4090, and as crazy as my 4090 is, if I want to use ultra ray tracing, ultra everything, I still have to use the upscaling. So it's just, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think the most of the people who's complaining about it is people who's just like built on I need my real frames, which is I don't know. I mean I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm
I
still gonna
mean, don't
play the
try
game.
to, don't downplay it. It's still a crutch at the end of the day for these devs to rely on it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't really need to have to use the DLSS to get quality frames in a video game anymore. It should be there to help. It
Yeah.
shouldn't necessarily be there to be like, okay, we're gonna make our game around this DLSS because a lot of people they'll say it doesn't change image quality, but at the end of the day, it does. If you really put pictures side to side, you'll see individual spots on your image that might be blurred. You might get ghosting when you're looking around. You'll see it on your character like a little ghost effect. That all comes from all this AI upscaling. So, like for instance, speaking of upscaling on Dark Tide right now, I would normally play with my DLSS on. Now, you know me, T. I have my little 1080p TV that I've been using forever. So,
Yeah.
using DLSS with my rig, just using quality, it'll bring my frames down to 720p. You know how it kind of compensates the resolution to kind of get you the
Yeah,
required
exactly.
performance.
Yeah.
So I don't want that. I don't want 720. That's that modern as we are now, 720 is low when it comes to resolution. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm already scraping the bottom with the 1080p. But so what I'm saying is on Dark Tide, I used to use it, but you would, like I said, the ghosting, you would see it when you would turn your character, you would see like a shimmer on your character, and that shit. Once you notice it, it's hard not to notice it. And then same thing with the blur, you would see kind of like a haze, not film grain, but kind of like a haze that came from it. So I personally, I use DLAA. which is still kind of an upscaling, but it doesn't drop my resolution down.
Okay.
So it's not as powerful as like say DLSS, but it's still upscaling technology, which I mean, again, I have to use it. So,
Well,
you know,
since
this
we're
game
on the
came out quite
topic
a
of
while ago.
upscaling, do you think upscaling is like as big of a deal as people's making it in today's market of games?
I wouldn't say it's a big deal, but
Okay.
it's not necessarily something we should avoid or just let keep happening the way these devs keep just using it as a crutch. Because again, it's poor image quality compared to without it. If you can get your game running solid without the use of any of the upscaling, I promise you it's going to look much better. Will it
Yeah.
run as good? Well, we've already DLSS has already proven all these upscalings has already proven that it really does help with performance. So
Yeah, it does. I
a
mean,
little bit of both worlds, you know, good and
yeah.
bad.
I feel like I kind of feel like the same way you're saying it right now. I feel like we shouldn't be using it as much as we are in today's gaming world. But then again, like the way that these games are coming out right now, they're graphically wise, they're looking crazy. Like
Are they though?
every step up, we're getting better and better quality graphics in every game that we're getting right now.
I
And if we
mean,
want to, yeah, if we
I
want to
don't know.
keep that, if we want to keep that fidelity, I feel like we just gotta the devs. Because I'm not gonna lie, I did dabble in Unreal Engine a little bit, not as much as like a full time dev would, but I I have a 4090 and my computer was still kind of like trying to catch up with some of the stuff that I was looking into in Unreal Engine 5. So I don't know if it's the engine that
Yeah,
is making
I
it harder
personally
for
think it
people.
is.
Yeah,
Because for
I
me, all Unreal Engine 5 games, it always adds a stutter effect to my game. And it's
yeah,
only Unreal Engine 5 games.
yeah, but
So I'm a little concerned with Stalker because stuttering is my I hate that. It's the worst when you see like a micro stutter and you just can't get rid of it.
I mean, I was watching a couple of YouTubers. I think Luke was talking about it. Luke Stevens. I think he was talking about it as well. The copy that he played in back when they flew people out to play the game. I think it was like at some kind of games con or something like that. You know, like the special YouTubers they get to go out to stuff like that. He was saying how that copy looked nothing like the gameplay that we recently got a couple of days ago. He said that shit was like a buggy mess. It was all over the place, which had him concerned. Now he said he saw what they released recently, and it was 20 times better. So what he was thinking, it was like an old copy that he got his hands on, and he thought that it was just a really old copy of the gameplay they was trying to let out. I mean, from what I've seen recently, I nobody saw that part of the gameplay. He was talking about experience from what he played, but from what I seen recently, the game looks damn good. I don't know what they're running this gameplay footage on. Like I said, they haven't lifted any embargoes yet, so all the review streamers and review YouTubers haven't been able to say anything about the game yet, but we'll probably see it on like Monday or Tuesday or something like that. We'll start seeing people playing it. um but from what I've seen so far, the game looks pretty good. I have to say that the game looks pretty good. That's just my impression of
It
it,
is a little
and this is me.
concerning there's not like review copies out already
Yeah, it's
for these
concerning.
embargoes filled
It's
up.
concerning because we just had to go through all that review BS with the Dragon Age Velguard. Ugh, we all know how much of a mess that was. So another thing that I found is people are pissed off about the 160 gig download and not being able to preload. I don't understand about the 160 gigs, but I do understand
It's Unreal.
about the
Unreal Engine.
preload. Um, do you think it's because it's not optimized?
No, it's Unreal Engine. It's that simple. Think Lords of the Fallen. That was 80. I'm pretty sure it's 86 gigabytes. Let me see. 86 gigabytes, and it wasn't even an open world game.
Okay.
And that was like you know that kind of games those are like they're semi-open levels, and like you go through them. This is an open world. They've already confirmed the main story takes 40 hours. That's a long time. That most games like Resident Evil 2 remake, which one of my favorite games ever,
Yeah.
that's only like 12, 14 hours.
I think you made a
It
good
it don't
point
feel like it. Go
before
ahead.
we started talking. I think you made a good point. You was talking about how people pay people get Call of Duty every year and that game's like 300 gigs. Well,
Yeah,
realistically it's not, but
people
it
do
might as
their
well
no,
be.
it is. No, it is because you have to download specific like Warzone, and then if you want the campaign and then the co-op and then the zombies mode, you download all that shit separately. At least you do on console. You have to choose what versions you want and what you want to install, and bro, it adds up to 2 to 300
Yeah.
gigabytes. So,
The preload thing, I feel like I feel like that is I think you was telling me that too. Most games are letting you preload. I know Dragon the Veilguard didn't let me preload, and it was another game. There's another game that just came out. Uh, I forgot the name of it, but they didn't let me preload either. Um, I'm starting to see a trend with more PC side is doing that. You said you don't. I feel like um I don't get to preload a lot. Um, but I feel like on consoles get to preload. I have a PlayStation 5, you have a PlayStation 5. I think consoles get to preload it a lot more than we do. I think that's the reason behind that I think is cuz of people getting their hands on it and leaking certain info about the game and stuff like that. How do you feel about preloads?
I mean, I don't see why shouldn't get a preload if you already have everything ready. There's some people who it'll take a day or two to get their internet download their
Exactly.
160 gigs, so there's zero reason not to get a preload. If you're
Exactly.
worried about people cracking it, I mean, this is the modern century. What are you gonna do? People are gonna find a way anyways.
Yeah.
If you're
I
worried
don't
about a
think it's about
preload,
cracking it. I think it's about getting details of the game leaked cuz they could look into like files and stuff like that cuz with preloads it's actually on your computer.
I know, but
It's
still,
just locked that you can't like it's just locked through Steam, but it's still on your you can see all the files and stuff.
I mean, it's no different
So,
than them giving out stupid weekly. Oh, get the Ultimate Edition, get the game a week early. I despise that crap.
are you kind of nervous about the they haven't lifted the embargo yet?
I'm super nervous. This game, I'm pretty sure they haven't made a game since their last Stalker game, and that was back in 2000 something, bro. Like
Yeah.
it's like Stalker. Let me see.
What was it? I think it was like
Shadow of Chernobyl. That was
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
2007, and then Call of Pripyat was 2009. I played Shadow of Chernobyl and then Call of Pripyat. I didn't play Clear Sky in 2008 or Call of Pripyat. But so that was 11 about 15 years ago was the last game they made. So that was made by what's their GSC Game World?
Yeah. So are
GSC
you
just
worried about it?
I am for sure worried about
Yeah.
all these games. I'm worried nowadays.
Do you
Um,
think it's going to be a buggy mess with their track record?
I don't know if it's gonna be a buggy mess. I think it's gonna be a performance mess personally, because it's not technically day one.
So
Nice.
we're going to get ready to wrap this up. Let everybody know what your finals from coming from somebody who played this game from the first Stalker all the way till now. You have a lot of experience with this franchise. Let people know how you honestly feel about Stalker 2.
Well, for one, people need to lower their. I don't know if the word is expectations or not when it comes to like the story and the branching of the different choices and whatnot, and all these relationships with companions and all that. Stalker has never been about that. Never. The story was never the focal point of the game. The game has always been about atmosphere. It's about surviving in the exclusion zone and dealing with all the crazy, anomalies, the bandits and supporting different factions and whatnot. That's what the game's been always about. So don't go into it thinking it's Fallout or it's another BioWare game where you're gonna, you know, nonstop making choices and playing the game for the story and all that. Don't get me wrong, the story might be 10 out of 10, Witcher 3 status, which would be fantastic. But what I'm saying is the game's never been about that. So kind of quell your expectations about the story a little bit. But it's going to be, I already know it's going to be a solid game. It's Stalker. There's no, if they can get the performance right, they already have the whatchamacallit, the ingredient. They already have the process laid down for them. They just it can tell in all the dev posts, the behind the scenes that they made. This is their passion project. And with all the drama going on in their homeland, they dealt with all that and still got the game out. So I already know the game's going to be solid. I'm not
Okay.
worried about that. So if you want to pre-order it, pre-order if that's your thing. I don't believe in that. If you want to support them, you can still buy the game day one. You don't have to. So I'd say buy it day one. If you're skeptical, wait a couple days, see what people are saying. But I think we're in for a game of the year contender for next year. Sadly, it can't be this year, but I think we're ready. Wednesday, we're gonna be cheeky breaky. We're gonna be playing guitars at the campfire and looting bandits or worshiping the monolith, whatever your thing is. All you soccer fans know what all that stuff means.
Yeah. So how I feel about it, I think that it's gonna be like you said, it's gonna be a contender for Game of the Year. Sadly, it couldn't be this year. Um, Next year we'll see. I want. There's a lot of games I want to get Game of the Year next year, but we all know what's gonna happen next year, so I don't even want to talk about that right now. But personally, I think Stalker Two is gonna be a great game. As somebody who is jumping into it for the first time and has just known about the other two games from people telling me about it or um, watching gameplay of it myself, I think it's gonna be a great game. No hands down. I was hesitant about it when I first heard about it. When Frank first told me about it, I was hesitant about it. But now, seeing it and actually studying it and seeing how passionate these guys are about their project, I think it's gonna be a great game, and I can't wait to play it on Wednesday. I'm gonna live stream it and everything. It's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be a really great game. Um, but yeah, we're kind of like way over time, but yeah, I just want to thank Frank for coming on, speaking his mind. We're gonna try and do this every Saturday. Um, Next Saturday we're gonna talk about how we actually feel about the Stalker game. Since we'll have a couple hours into the game, he's gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. We're gonna talk about it. Um, and then the following Saturday after that, another big game is coming out, and that's Path of Exile 2. And as me being a Diablo fan, um, I'm gonna switch over to Path of Exile 2 because I'm very interested into that game, and we're gonna see how that game is. And it's supposed to be multiplayer, so maybe me and Frank can run through it together. We'll see how that goes. And yeah. Is there anything else you want to say to the people out there, Frank?
No, that should be it.
All right, man. So I want to thank everybody for watching this. This is first of many podcasts. We're gonna do these on Saturday. Um, Wednesday, I'm gonna live stream. I'm gonna live stream for about 8 to 10 hours of Stalker 2, and then on Thursday, it's gonna be the live of Path of Exile 2. I'm gonna see if Frank wants to hop on a video with me on Thursday, and we could talk about and see how we feel about that because they're going to be talking about everything about Path of Exile 2 on Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and like this video. I'm out. Peace.